What is going on? This is part 3 and the last installment of how to become a weapon. So we left off with number 20, which was if something happens more than once, it is a sign. Coincidences do not exist, right? So make sure to understand what is being said, right? Most people would hear that and they would literally listen for some type of audio instead of everything else that might be silent that you can also see with your eyes. If you've seen class, right, which is a way of thinking better. It's a philosophical online lecture, so on and so forth. Let's do a mic check real quick. All right, we're still good. Online philosophical lecture. And in there, I talk about in one of the lessons how to hear with your eyes, right? So, how do you hear with your eyes? That makes no sense, right? And see with your ears, right? What does that mean? Well, if something is happening or popping up multiple times, you start seeing this or this or that, etc. There's no such things as coincidences once there is a pattern or trend that has been established, right? And if you can agree that history repeats itself, well, then you must pay attention. Right? Not everything can be said in an audible fashion. Audible. Now, let's get into part 3. 21. People judge a book by its cover all the time. Use that to your advantage. If you're trying to stand out, stand out. If you're trying to blend in, blend in. If you're trying to be overlooked. If you're trying to be rich, then actually know what you're talking about. If you want to be wealthy, learn your manners, how to utilize the different forks, knives, etc. Improve your vocabulary so you can have a deeper understanding and talk at a pitch and tone that is more calm than those who are rich, because the wealthy do know how to conversate, right? This is why they're also great at marketing, right? They all know how to talk in that field. 22. Learn psychology. Your opponent will always know it. So let's go back and revert to number 21. Now, understanding that I just reiterated lesson, or not lesson, but little point 20, right? There's no such things as coincidences once it happened, right? 21 was people judge a book by its cover all the time. Use that to your advantage. Now 22 is learn psychology. Your opponent will already know it. Well, if that doesn't refer back to 21, then think about it. Is that not psychology? Right? Learn magic and sleight of hand. This is 23. Learn magic and sleight of hand. It will show you how to think outside of the box, right? If I were to say, oh, this dude's a card, right? Well, where do you put a card? You put cards inside of a box. It's like a holster, etc. Right? But each one of them has a different meaning, etc. So, well, learn how to think outside of that and then add to it, forcing creativity and shifting certain things, because you now know how to think outside of the box and shift perspective and perception of the world around you. 24. Learn a language. You will need to communicate. So, what do I mean? Oh, well, I know English and blah, blah, blah. That's not what I mean. So, if you want to go somewhere, why not learn the language that is well spoken in that area? You want to go to South America, learn Spanish. You want to go to Russia, learn Russian. You want to go to China, go learn Chinese. You want to go to Japan, learn Japanese. You want to learn something else, go there, right? So learn stuff, because if you travel, you'll be more understood and you will have a better understanding of not only the world around you, but the one that you are now immersed in if you end up in that location, right? Because you will have the commonality of language, not just someone translating or trying to translate something that they don't hear very often, right? And remember, the things we hear often are the things that we often remember. 25. All right, so here we go. Learn and stay up to date with technology. It's 10 to 20 years ahead and updates every 3 to 6 months. So, what do I mean by this? Well, if you ever seen the movie with Iron Man where he's in the courtroom, so on and so forth, and he's showing, technology advancements around the world, and he's like, oh, this country about 10 years away, this country 20 years away. This company that's here that you guys decided to work with, 30 years away. So it's one of those things, but then there's a slow release, right? So the people that could afford it, the innovators, early adopters, right, will go ahead and make first time purchases, allowing for replication. Once advancements are made, the old model is no longer relevant to them, so it goes down and there's this trickle down effect. But because things are being produced more quickly, especially with large language models, AI, so on and so forth, well, it gets updated every 3 to 6 months, also just like software. So if you have a phone update every 3 to 6 months, if that's sometimes a 9, right? Well, then you understand because everything is updating and there's new advancements. Now, let's get into the juicy stuff, the last 5 points, right? 26, learn to read and scan computer code. There are already flaws, right? So what do I mean by this? Well, if you don't learn computer language, well, then you can't hit function, what is it, F12 or F11 or whatever, to see the source code or to check the source code on the site or whatever. Or, what is it, Control Shift Command C or whatever it's called, bring up the command prompt, see what's actually going on within either DOS or whatever the case may be. But to look and analyze that, you don't have to physically type so much anymore, so on and so forth, due to advancements. But you do know you must learn how to read it, right? And then also to find flaws quickly. So an experiment that I did when I worked for a marketing company was I took the Facebook pixel and I purposefully put it into AI, had it check the code. It said it was correct. When I gave it back to the team, they said it wasn't working still. And then somebody found out that there was a comma. And I'm like, that's weird. There was never one there to begin with. So what happened, right? And so the comment was, it's hard, ain't it? And I was like, oh, is it really? Is it really? Let's go back. So it was either a mistake because I directly copied it from one place, placed it into another, and then gave it over, which means somebody's held liable depending on what AI platform I used on that. But concept still applies, right? So learn how to read and scan stuff in order to make sure that it is correct, because some people will sometimes rush through things and there's normally flaws, and perfection doesn't exist. So there's flaws already. So look for those. You'll get through life a lot faster. 27, I say this all the time. Okay. Pay attention, especially to history. It tends to always repeat. Now, I stated this earlier, but if you are into finances, well, look at a 3 to 5 year backing or 10 years backing of a stock or whatever, and then understand the increments in which it decreased and increased, right? Went up or down, and then the time frame in between, and then you might be able to figure out a pattern, right? Etc. Now, 28. Understand that there is a shot clock on everything and that time reveals all things. Now, in a lesson of class, I asked the question, does time reveal all things? Well, yeah, even if you're under a gag order, there's different types, and then you have 25 years, 50 years, etc., so on and so forth, depending on what's allowed, right, within the different clauses of the agreement or contract signed. So, there's a shot clock on everything, and then once the shot clock runs out, those laws and things don't apply, similar to, what's it called? The 7-year gap that you're allowed, right? What is it? can't think of the legal term right now, but after 7 years or in a lot of amount of time, you can't be charged for some certain things, right? Same thing with bankruptcy, right? You go into bankruptcy and you can do that, but then your credit's shot for the next 7 years, right? Just like if you do something illegal, you're in trouble depending on the time frame. And then after that time frame, you can't be held for that anymore. So, same concept, right? 29. Develop tests for those you wish to trust in important cases or matters, right? So when I was younger, I used to have trust tests, so on and so forth, and I wanted to see exactly how fast it took for something to get back to me, because that meant that there was a leak somewhere and I couldn't tell certain people certain things. So understand that, and you'll be able to have a better circle of people around you. And then last but not least, number 30, only take life when and if absolutely needed. Outside of this, use heavy force to get your point across. And this is for educational purposes only. But if you're studying martial arts, you know some stuff that could possibly hurt some people, right? And you're only supposed to use certain techniques at a certain period, at a certain time, just in case certain things happen. Outside of that is your job to, well, avoid all those things from occurring, right? And that's one of the things you get taught, not only just within martial arts, but also in the military and law enforcement and survival, so on and so forth, classes, etc. So I guess, this is wrapping up how to be a weapon part 3. If you guys want to see more, or you have questions or comments, or you want to add something in there, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you want to say something negative, by all means, I'll try to flip it into a positive. It may come off as, well, some people may label it as sarcasm, but if you can't flip a negative into a positive, what good are you? So till next time, my friends, stay of value, keep providing value for others, because once you stop, well, then you're gonna probably get discarded. Anyways, talk to you guys later. Peace.